Hello, hello. Welcome back. Rebecca Morassutti here, VA mentor and VA business strategist, coming to you with one of my favorite topics to talk about, which is the top 3 questions that I get asked by aspiring virtual assistants. Okay. You wouldn't believe how many times these questions have been asked to me. You really wouldn't. And you know what's really interesting is everybody has the same questions. Everyone has the same questions. So hopefully today I'm going to be able to answer some questions that have been probably top of mind for you. Okay? So let's dive right in. First question. The first question is this something I could actually do as a legit way to replace my full-time income? Is this legit? Is being a virtual assistant legit? There are various different other ways people ask me this question. Can you actually make money? Is it a real business? Do people actually pay you, right? Like these are all kind of focused around this one question here. Is this something you can actually do to replace your full-time income? Something legit? The answer, high level, is yes, okay? If you build your business in the right way, if you have the intention of building a long-term freedom-based sustainable business as a virtual assistant, it is 110% something that you can achieve. Now, if you're looking at trying to make 10K next month in your business, probably going to need a little bit of a reality check there. Okay. Building a business, building a virtual assistant business is the exact same as building any other business, right? You go through a building phase. Okay. So if there's anybody, if there's anyone that you've ever heard that's like, oh, you can like find a VA client tomorrow and start making like $3,000 within 24 hours, like I would just unfollow, unsubscribe, like whatever, because it's just not realistic. Okay. Realistically, most people find their first client within 90 days of starting their business. And starting their business doesn't really mean probably what you think it means, right? Starting the business just means I've decided to start a VA business. Doesn't matter if you have a website, doesn't matter if you have Instagram, doesn't matter if it's registered, you have a business bank account or anything like that. None of that literally matters at all. Nothing. None of it matters. Okay. The only thing that matters is that you find your first client, right? That really is the only thing that matters. So, is this something that you can actually do as a legitimate way to build an online business, to be able to achieve the freedom that you see, be able to travel and work from wherever you want, be able to stay at home with your kids? It is an amazing option. And I truly believe it is the best option for you. Okay, it is the best option for you because it is the fastest way to build an online business. And the reason why is because you're only using skills that you already have. Every other online business that you see out there in the world, you will need to learn new skills to run that business. And that will take a very long time, and likely you'll probably stop before you actually start seeing results because it's going to take so long to actually see those results. With becoming a VA, you're actually able to start with what you already have, build your business, and learn as you go. One of the best things, one of my favorite things about being a virtual assistant is that I got to work with other business owners. I got to work with so many different kinds of business owners, and I got to learn how to build a business the right way and how to build a business the wrong way. I got to learn how to do that, and now I'm building other businesses as well with those skills that I learned. So if you want to become a virtual assistant and you're like, that's all I want to do, I just want to land a few clients, I want to make like $11,000 a month eventually, and I just want to enjoy my life, that's something you can do. But there's also the option to use this as a stepping stone to something else. So answering a question, it is more than a legit way to replace your full-time income, and it's actually the fastest way that you can do it. Now, the second question, the second most asked question I get everywhere on Instagram, through email, in the webinars, everywhere is, where do you find clients? Where do I find clients? Where are the clients? I need clients, right? Even new VAs that have started their business and they've been looking for clients, they can't find clients. Like they think that there's some secret underground vault of clients that I only have access to, that I could just like, here you go, here's some clients for you. No. Unfortunately, it's not that way. You can find clients, this probably isn't the answer that you're going to want, but this is the truth. You can find clients literally everywhere. You can find a client at the bus stop. Okay, you could find a client on Facebook, you could find a client on Instagram, sure. You could find a client, walking down the street. You could find a client at a coffee shop. You could find a client on LinkedIn. You could find a client from somebody else that you knew from your corporate job. You could find a client that knows your dad through his uncle, through his daughter. There's literally no specific one place where you can find clients. So knowing that, you need to take a little bit of a different approach, right? Because most virtual assistants come into this space thinking about it like they're trying to get a job. And there's really only a few places you can go to find jobs, right? Really, most people, right? They go to like some sort of job board, maybe on different sites, but it's all the same, right? Or if you want to work for a specific place, you go right to that specific place's job board. Virtual assisting is not the same as being an employee. Right? I teach women how to start VA businesses to become entrepreneurs. Now, that's not to say they're not VA jobs that you could get, but if what you want is like the time freedom, the money freedom, the mental freedom, all that, then you're going to have to build your own business. You're going to have to build your own business. So it's not really a question about where do you find clients, because you can find clients anywhere, like I just said. It's more about how you're going about finding them that matters. So instead of approaching this like a traditional job hunt, you need to start approaching it like you're building relationships with people who potentially could be your clients, right? Like if I told you today, like, okay, in the next 24 hours, you need to land your first client or the world is going to come to an end. And like, I was serious. This is like, what was that movie on Netflix with Leonardo DiCaprio? When the World Ends or something? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. It's gonna end, okay? Like everyone's saying it, everyone's like, look up, it's gonna end. What would you do, right? Like, what would you do? Most people would be like, oh my God, I would start reaching out to every single person I've ever met in my entire life, being like, I run a VA business. Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything I can help you with at all? And that's kind of how you got to go about it. That's kind of how you got to go about it, okay? Now, of course, there are other things that we could take into consideration, like what kinds of clients, to know if they're a great client, if they're going to be able to pay you and all that. But from an answer to this specific question, where do you find clients? You can find clients literally everywhere. Okay, all you need to do is change your approach to where do I find clients to how can I actually make connections with people? How can I build relationships with people and offer them help? All you're doing as a VA is offering to help them with something. And that's the perspective you need to now go into this with. Okay, now number 3. Okay, our final question, my top 3 questions here. How do I get started? Yes, how do I get started? The age-old question. How do I get started? Well, I'm sure you've probably tried to get started already, right? Like you've probably, you've joined this, you're getting this video right now, which means you've wanted to find some free resources to learn from, which is great, right? It's a great first step, learning, trying to get understanding of the industry. Maybe you've downloaded some resources, maybe you even bought like some $40 something somewhere, but you're feeling like, okay, nothing's really happening. Right? And that's what happens, right? When we think about getting started into something, like when we think about starting something, the first thing a lot of us do is like research into it, right? Like that's what I do. I'm assuming that's what you do too, right? You're like, okay, I need to learn about this. I need to try to build something or create something. I need to get some information from people who have done this before on what I should be doing first. But you've probably tried to do that and not really come up with full answers, right? And that's why I get this question so often, is because like, how do I get started? And I say to people, okay, well, like, have you done anything so far? And they're like, oh yeah, I've done lots of stuff. I've tried to make a website and I've created social media and I've created content for my clients and I've built a website and I put a profile up on Upwork, but nothing's working. Nothing is getting my business started. That momentum of starting the business, yeah, I did all the things, I made all the things, I have all the right business stuff, but I still don't have a client. My business has not started yet because I don't have that client. So that's the answer to your question. The question is that, or the answer is that instead of focusing on all these things, instead of focusing your time and energy and just even like mental focus, right, on on building this idea of what a business should be, sometimes even like I know, like when I was starting my business, like people in my life were like, oh, okay, so are you working on a website? Like they didn't even know what I was doing. They have no idea about the online business space, but like to them, a business was a website. A business is not a website. Trust me, okay? What you really need to focus on, instead of doing all that business illusion that I know that you're told to do, it pains me. I know you're told to do it. Because I did it too. I know you're told to do it, but it doesn't make sense to do until you land your first client. It really doesn't make sense to do at all, but I'm just telling you, land your first client right now so you feel better about this, okay? You have to focus on landing your first client. That is how you will get started. That's how everything that you've learned, everything that you've heard will come together. It'll all come together. It'll all make sense. The momentum will continue to build. You'll find more clients and all that once you land that first client. So that should be your only focus, your number one focus here, okay? So the answer to how do you get started? My answer to you is to get your first client. Get your first client. Do whatever you can do to find someone that you can work for, that you will make money from. Has to be money. Don't do it for family. Don't do it for free. You need to get the money. That's the key aspect here, okay? That's how you start. That's how you start building the business. That's how you start learning what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. That's how you learn what you're great at. That's how you learn what it really means to be a virtual assistant. I can sit here all day and tell you what it's like to be a VA, but it's not going to matter. Until you land your first client, none of that's going to matter. Everything will come together once that happens, okay? So if you have any questions at all, any feedback, any questions, anything, please send me an email, send me a DM. I absolutely love hearing from you. If you know anybody else who's interested in starting their own VA business, send me their email. I'll connect with them. We can chat. That's all for today. We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.